My piano and I. This is a little story about my experiences with the piano, my ups and downs. And I start with my prep school. I had a French teacher, and she also taught the piano. And she was quite strict, and she was very keen that we should have our fingers in the right position. So I would play. And she said, if you play like that, I'm going to rap your knuckles with a ruler. So she would rap my knuckles. So then I learned to play. And so on. So I learned to keep my fingers like that. Although I learned later that for some pieces, like with some Chopin, you actually stroke the keys like that. But I learned to keep my fingers stiff. So then I graduated, started playing some music, and we started with some Czerny. So we managed to cope with that. And then we moved on to some Bach, and Bach has been my friend ever since I started playing the piano. Then we moved on to some Mozart, some simple Mozart, and see if I can remember how to play some Mozart here. When I reached my teens, I was 15 and I played in a school music competition. And that was probably the highlight of my piano playing career. We had 12 different houses at school where we lived, and each house had to compete. I was in the least musical house, and I was the only person performing for my house. Others had groups of 2, 3, 5, 10 players. I actually got second prize in this competition, and the adjudicator from the Royal School of Music in London said he couldn't give me the first prize because it was a shame that my house could only provide me and there were no other players. Anyway, this is what I played, the arabesque. So much for that. I then entered a romantic phase. I fell in love and I started to play some popular music. It's really not very modern. It's an Italian Neapolitan love song, and actually very much in the classical tradition. It's a folk song, and it could be really converted into classical music by a Bach or a Mozart. But I've always enjoyed it. It's called Anima e Core. accordion. I then for a number of years didn't play at all, moving around the world. But when we first came to the United States, that was back in, way back, 1966. I bought an old piano. I think it cost me $50 in a junk store. I started playing a little bit, moved to Colombia, didn't have much time, but I did play Christmas carols. And if I can find them somewhere here. Here we are. So that was the extent of my playing for a while. Family would sing the carols around the piano, and I would accompany them. So here is a famous one. Silent Night. We then moved to Venezuela. And in Venezuela I found a very nice teacher, Arnoldo Garcia Guignon, and he got me going again. We started with scales and with Bach, and eventually I learned to play a piece which I very much enjoyed. It's an Andante and Variations by Haydn. So I'll see if I can remember that. I then moved on to try to play some Chopin, and I worked very hard to play some Chopin, and I went to England on vacation, and I decided to play it for my father, to show him that I could still play the piano. My father stopped me. He said, "That's not how you play. Try it again." So I played it once more. No, that's not how you play it. I got angry. I said, "Listen, I've been away for a long time. I hadn't played the piano for a long time. I decided to come and play for you." But I said, "That's it. I'm quitting. No more piano playing." And I quit for the next 30 years. Never really had the inspiration or the desire to continue playing. On moving to Brooklyn in about the year 2000, 2001, I'd inherited my father's grand piano. We had it in the living room, and it sat in the living room for quite a while. And one day Jane said to me, you know, that piano's taking up a lot of space. I could really use it for some furniture, for something else. Unless, of course, you decide you're going to play again. So I rose to the challenge. I went to the local music school. I met a teacher there, Genevieve Einstein, who has become a good friend, and he's been teaching me for the last 10 years or so. I explained my dilemma, and we started doing fairly elementary music and gradually worked our way up. And he's been a tremendous inspiration to me. So a couple of pieces I think I'll try playing for you that I learned with Genevieve. One is some Mendelssohn, beautiful romantic music. Here we go. Then we went on to some Tchaikovsky, also very romantic music. This is from the Tchaikovsky The Seasons, and this is May, also known as White Nights.